What's going on, everybody? We are about to get right into it. I'm running a little bit behind. My apologies about that. I had a little spiel about the State of the Union. I think I'm gonna try and knock it out. Let me turn this music down. Welcome to everybody that fell through. Yes, in the building, Ben Garcia. We got low battery. Low battery. My apologies. And Shay, how you doing tonight? Appreciate y'all for pulling up on your brother. Um, Let me get this together. Hold on, let me read my little spiel before before we delve deep into it. It looks like it's about to go down. Give me one second. Oh, yep, they are about to start. But we're basically about to watch the State of the Union. It's delivered by the president to a joint session of the United States Congress near the beginning of most calendar years on the current condition of the nation. The State of the Union generally includes reports on the nation's budget, economic, news, agenda, progress, achievement, and the presidential priorities for the legislative purposes. Now, this was actually, I didn't really know this. This is pretty interesting. The address fulfills the requirement in Article 2, Section 3, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution for the president to periodically give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expeditiously. During most of the country's first century, the presidential primarily submitted a written report to Congress. After 1913, Woodrow Wilson, 28th president, began the regular practice of delivering the address to Congress in person as a way to rally support to the president's agenda while also submitting a more detailed report. With the advent of radio, television, the address is now broadcast live in the United States homes on many networks. And the first one was actually given by, of course, George Washington. It was in, when was it? Oh, I'm sorry. When was it given? I was looking at that too. When was it given? The first one was given out here. George Washington delivered in January 8th. 1790 in New York City. But we about to get to it real quick. Let me drop this screen. Thank y'all so much for pulling up once again. I lost it. All right, y'all. How we doing? Appreciate the pull up. Breaking news, the State of the Union. With Joe Biden. I think this is probably going to be the biggest crowd Joe Biden, or the biggest, I don't want to say crowd, but I think the most people you're going to get watching them at one given time. But hold on, let's turn this down a little bit so we can't ridiculous. It's only on 5. I'm not tripping off of it. It sounds loud for some reason. Now there's the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore. The gentlewoman from Michigan, Mrs. McClain. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Cole. The gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Reschenthaler. The gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Rogers. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Jeffries. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Clark. The gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar. The gentleman from California, Mr. Liu. The gentlewoman from Washington, Ms. Del Bene. The gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Neguse. The gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Underwood. The gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Escobar. The gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Trahan. The gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Kildee.
The President of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as members of the committee on the part of the Senate to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber. The senator from New York, Mr. Schumer. The senator from Illinois, Mr. Durbin. The senator from Washington, Mrs. Murray. The senator from Michigan, Ms. Stabenow. The senator from Minnesota, Ms. Klobuchar. The senator from Virginia, Mr. Warner.
Hey, Nick, I'm sorry, man.
The senator from Wisconsin, Ms. Baldwin. The senator from Kentucky, Mr. McConnell. The senator from South Dakota, Mr. Thune. The senator from Wyoming, Mr. Barrasso. The senator from West Virginia, Mrs. Capito. And the senator from Iowa, Ms. Ernst.
The members of the escort committee will exit the chamber through the lobby doors.
Yeah, just as I was saying, I think this is probably going to be the biggest audience that Biden gets. So he's got to really knock this one out the park, I think, if he wants to. But he's facing Trump, like, and Trump can say something stupid. I really give him on this one. He's got that on his side. But look at him. It's like, if you guys ever get a chance, watch a movie called The Distinguished Gentleman. You see how this is done. It's like a play-by-play, man. They all work together, like literally. I was watching a little bit before we hopped on. I seen Ted Cruz and Tim Kaine. They're I won't say they're rivals, but they're on opposing things. You just wouldn't think they would be cool, but they were like chumming it up. Like I said, they all work together. But it is what it is. Thank you, Nika.
The Dean of the Diplomatic Corps.
I have no idea what's going on right here. But we're learning together, right? We're learning together. I really want to watch the Republican response. There's always usually a response. I don't know who's giving it, though. Maybe I should look that up while we wait. Right? I'm whispering. I'm sorry. My apologies. I don't mean to whisper. But it was late, man. I'm just chilling. Should be in the bed. No, I won't say in the bed, but should be lying down time. But we're informing the people. Let me talk up a little bit. Miss Nika. Because it's Lewis, but it's just a smooth laid back voice. That OH10. Lady in the African garb? I'm not sure. She in the African garb, yeah?
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court.
I think the Army's coming out after they are the generals type, they usually do. You sick of these people? All of them? You say how you running, Nick? You know somebody who would love to see you run. Just most of them, though, I feel you. Yeah, that's all of them, Nick. If you're saying most, that's all of them. Name one person you like that's in the Senate. I mean, but you think they're cool. Man, low battery, doesn't that sound spectacular? But I don't think, I don't know. I think that's going to change in the next 30 years. But especially after this this presidency. I think that people don't start to realize that we need, like you said, kind of, well, I won't call them forward thinking, but just a little bit more receptive or adaptable, I would say. Adaptable. I don't think he was barred, not yet. He might be bored and invited to talk, but I don't think he's barred. So this like the playoffs out here, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not the playoffs, but the All-Star. Just the All-Star game, not the playoffs, I'm saying. Oh, what's going on, guys? Is that Josh? Okay, okay. It took me a second. It took me a second. He kicked in though. He kicked in. Like, wait a minute. I think I'm. Hope everybody's doing all right. Appreciate the pull up, everybody. Let me see this. This pumping circumstance for nothing now. Just how they're getting their money though. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. Stay strong. We appreciate you for pulling up even more now. So we can be sending all our good thoughts to the lazy chef homes. This is taking. Oh, come on. I never see this better than that. That's it. Let me do your lunch. Lazy chef. So, Josh, I see Josh Hawley, Mark Rubio, this dude's name Kennedy. I don't know if it's Smith, Brown, New York. No, thank you for coming. You know, you all so good over here. You fan. All of them. All of them, Alex, what's going on? I'm so far back in the chat rooms. Let's keep going. What's going on, Alex? Please. I don't think the state of the union. Oh, I'm gonna tell him you said that. I should keep this up all night. I'm sure he watched. What do you miss, nigga? That's the crazy. Crazy. Must be true, ladies do love crazy men. What's going on, Kelly? Even though I can't stand you. Great to see you. Oh my God. What kind of sadomasochistic stuff you are? You miss him cussing you out. I think twice. But when you say fuck up, you mean miss? He has a speech impediment, man. He's a stutterer. So, I mean, it's likely. I'm gonna hope that it gets that old, man. But Trump's been doing the worst, man. Trump's been doing the worst. Like with that Nikki Haley. I got a couple shorts. Can we talking about Minerva Pearl? Trump on that road too. That's what I mean. They ain't too far apart. They really not. Kenyatta Brown. Is it Kenyatta Brown? I don't know who the other one is. But look, oh, that's Clyde Burning Waters. They plotting. We're gonna get them reparations for our brothers and sisters as well. Tuberville, that's Tommy Tuberville. Republican from Alabama. I don't know who that is. Oh, we're just the Republican talking for. I should change the name of that. What's it? She a Democrat. Naturally, they're gonna do it. So did we miss the soldiers coming up? We missed them. Yeah, I'm gonna take this down, but I'm sure RBO does go watch a little bit of it, hoping to know I got it. But they say we got our evidence. You said you miss RBR, so now you can't say that. That's correct. Yeah, Biden them fell down. You gotta reboot them, so it's gonna take a while. There goes first male or the first vice president. What do they call him? First sir? What do they call him? That's the vice president. So I'm wondering why she changed. She used to only date black man. I wonder what switched up. Oh, okay, okay. I remember. That's a good name. We just need to all stop working. We just need to all stop. We bankrupt the government. We gotta have all the rich people to have one fast. We gotta have all the rich people to have one fast. Of course, the first lady, Jill. She has on her puke green outfit. No, let me see. I'm kidding.
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
That is the Secretary of Defense, of course. What's my man? Blinken. What is this job? Why did it stop like that? No, I can't remember. That's the Secretary of Defense behind the line. I don't know his name. Dang, that's crazy. What's my man? I can't remember his name either. That is so bad. I can't remember the brother's name. What kind of brother? I can't remember the OCO in the building was good, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, it's one thing our government does is waste money. Absolutely. This is one out. So they're trying to be, I guess this is part of our government, but they're trying to be further than that. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is their all-star game. You know, like, what they call it in the NFL. Pro Bowl. It's like the Pro Bowl. You know, we should do a review of the Distinguished Gentleman. That would be great. That should be a movie selection for the channel. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Y'all can't think of any politicians that y'all like. Yeah. Jamie Raskin is alright. He kind of cool. I kind of forget some of this stuff. Yeah. But the votes, that's where our power at. We don't organize, but I think, I don't know if y'all familiar with the voters in Michigan when they had the non-committed. That got Joe Biden, and they did the non-committed because they wanted something done with what's going on in Israel and the Gaza Strip, and that's why Joe Biden, after that primary, Joe Biden started talking about a ceasefire in Gaza. So our votes do count. We just, you know what I'm saying? Gotta make them combine. You know what I'm saying? So yo, we ain't voting for you. You know what I'm saying? They got scared of them, not committed. They scared them. So them primaries are official. Without the primaries, you don't know what I'm saying. Jeez, it'll take it forever. Hopefully this speech okay. Yeah, I'm about to get all this money from you. I'm about to get all this. See, it's like the club. They're at the club. They network. Like this the like I said, this the all. We're walking around. You know what I'm saying? Literally politics. Literally politics. That's what I should put up there. Literally. Can somebody put that in the chat for me? Literally politics. Literally politics. Literally politics. Literally politics. Thank you guys so much for chilling with us today. Lauren Burble, Bolbert, I believe I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, this is just like wrestling, man. With laws and politics. I think they doping them up. But he gotta be in the building to go do it. Man, what the hell is that, man? You can't wait till after. I'm gonna check it out after. What is it, though? Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. Should have just watched the highlights on X. I know we're gonna be with content too. We done had up on the tank. Oh Lord, jeez, Lord. Mercy, oh Lord, jeez, Lord. Oh no, Lord. Okay, fine.
Joe! Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Man, we don't live in Canada. We don't know about that. They're all trying to hide not, but that's Steve Solis in the back. Oh God, this is crazy. Come on, let's get it. Don't get down there. We got stuff to do. Yo, did y'all see that? Is that Marty Taylor Gates? She went 45. That's hilarious. He's like, look at it. This is crazy. I think it would be Nixon. Yeah, I think it would be Nixon. Oh, he talked to it. Okay, see him. Oh, I missed that. All right, Luke, you gotta speak with one of them. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Which one you pick? To save the world, you have to like literally sleep together. I mean, you know, this just hypothetical. Ooh, that's a good point. This for the lady. Oh, he been clowned. Don't say he been clowned. I'm not. Everybody want to do something.
This guy has completed integrity. Come back. All right.
I'm trying to think this is almost like the kingdom. They just keep clapping. I mean, for anybody, you know what I'm saying? I'm not just necessarily saying Joe Biden for something. I'm just saying the president in itself. But you know what I'm saying? But the craziness you go through with this. But didn't Trump just say something equally as crazy? Black people relate to me more. They like me more because I have a mugshot. Come on, that's even worse. It's the same thing. Like, cause you watched Joe Biden do it, and then you did the same thing. Come on, that's serious. Getting 20% of what, Kelly? Black vote? Come on. It's funny that you mentioned that, Kelly. I was just watching this piece about that, and a black host. She was talking about the disparaging differences. We might have to do a video on it because she's saying the way that cause she just told all black people were just the national poll. They poll every and anybody. She like literally had focus groups and everything. I'm not that good. White people don't eat fried chicken? You really telling me white people don't eat fried chicken just as much as black people? Trump ate Kentucky Fried Chicken. Just saying. So we can go with Trump just saying the lights are so bright, so I only can see the darks in here. Like they too old crackers. I'll just say they're too old crackers. And they're gonna have some. I think they just both have some prejudice, just the era that they come up with. It's just in them, and it's almost like a reflex. You don't really realize, like breathing. You don't really realize how important it is to change it. You know what I'm saying? And that's I won't say like racing, but it's probably so dormant that they don't. Both of them. I think both of them. It's a battle for both of them. They both say that. They both stand. You know what I'm saying? And then the worst part is Trump said this in front of his black constituents. Like black people relate to me more because I got a mugshot. Like how could we relate to you more? Black people ain't like all black people. And that's the thing, man, Garcia. It's a difference between not Bill Garcia, I'm sorry, Alex. It's the difference between black people and we're going to just say ninjas. When ninjas get a hold to it, it is over. So all the support that Trump is getting from ninjas, it's over. Like I was talking to a couple of fellas down today. Yeah, Trump 24. How many of y'all registered to vote? Dude tried to pull out his like state ID on me. I'm like, that's not a voter registration card, bro. Like, I'm just saying, like when the ninjas get to it, it's pretty much like. Well, you know he's gonna talk. Come on, bro. So you know he's gonna talk about that. Did he shake our dude's hand? I didn't see that. Did he shake Mike Johnson's hand? That's the Speaker of the House. Did he shake his hand? Did I miss it?
Thank you.
That looked like he shook his hand. Oh, okay, yeah, he shook his hand. Trump is getting 20% of the black vote. This is hilarious, man. That is hilarious. 20% of the black vote.
Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Trump is not being unfairly prosecuted, though. He did those things.
Mr. Speaker.
Now, if he's found innocent or guilty, that's something different. See that? I don't even know. You should really be hipping your son. He shouldn't even be thinking that. Like Trump actually did these things, so he's being charged with it now. If it's gonna be enough evidence to charge him with or to convict him of said crime, that's the difference. He actually did those things.
Hitler was on the march.
Like so, black people no.
Like,
y'all starting to irk me with that shit. Black people that Trump knows how to unfairly be. No, he did all those things. He took those documents. He lied about the fake elections. I mean, I know you know.
Tonight,
starting to.
I come to the same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. But Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers in war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago
It'd be the world police.
the Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered,
I don't think
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Now, my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, do whatever the hell you want. That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable.
He didn't go Ronald Reagan. That was a good thing right there. I like that. I mean, you know, what Ronald Reagan said,
America
that's pretty good.
is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. Come here, stand up. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, it's getting bigger.
And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill.
Right.
History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away,
That's funny,
it
though.
will put Ukraine at risk.
I know.
Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down. In a literal sense, history is watching. History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you are here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people. January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood.
Look at Mike in the back. He can't say nothing. He can't say nothing because he believes that Trump.
America stood strong.
That means that
and democracy prevailed.
we
must be honest.
But something like
the threat to democracy must be defended.
It's the opposite of what Biden.
My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th.
Uh-oh.
I will not do that.
Uh-oh.
This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies.
Uh-oh.
Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
Everybody should get up on that. Everybody should get up on that.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office is defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections, restore trust in our institutions, and make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place.
Especially when you lose. That's what you should be saying, especially when you lose. And when you're the most powerful man in the world and can't prove that I stole the victory from you. That's what you should be saying.
It's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom.
Why would they have to read?
Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child, but the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer. Guarantee the right to AVF. Guarantee it nationwide.
Yeah.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more. Thank you. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act.
Go on, Alex.
Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look,
He gonna get a lot
the
of
decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
I never heard of president. You don't want a lot of women vote.
Clearly,
Just because the Republicans are against that. You better win a lot of.
those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
This is what I don't understand. It's always difficult issue. I don't understand why they're trying to make this such a big deal of federal law.
America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear, record losses? Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind? The mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news, but in 1,000 cities and towns, the American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told. So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we leave no one behind.
You know we're going to talk about that.
The pandemic no longer controls our lives.
What killed
the vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
You're getting up for that. I'm not. Stand up.
Folks, My inherited economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record. Unemployment at 50-year lows.
Not gonna work, so you don't know what's gonna do.
A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses,
I mean,
and
you
each
already
one
beat
is a
them.
literal act of hope.
That ain't nothing to beat them again.
With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans, 800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower.
I'm making it.
The landing is and will be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Right here in America, where they belong.
What happened? You Republicans coming after my enemy?
And it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers. Creating good-paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
What?
In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And if any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernizing our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage. Providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in a family farm, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. The great comeback story is Belvedere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvedere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same. The folks of Belvedere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvedere right here in America. Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sims, a third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvedere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line, and today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger. Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor have a way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
You're the believing in our president, all right? No, but this is going to be his opposite what we said tonight, especially in the last 8 months.
Not one of you Republican buddies voted for it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit. And I want to, but what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone.
I don't understand why it doesn't matter to these like.
People have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money. It's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market to treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade. They're making a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone.
I made it call RDR, y'all. See y'all hating on Biden. You know he's for the shit, man.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, it's still a very big deal.
You know why it's such a big deal?
Over 100 million of you can no
Republican
longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition.
They'll have a look.
Well, my predecessor and many in this chamber want to take this prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act. I'm not going to let that happen.
You're not going to let that happen?
We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again.
Ooh, yeah, very good.
In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it.
Ooh.
The enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady. We'll pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that. But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years. And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass. Now
I mean,
pass
the
and
only thing
build
that's
and
killing your
renovate
Bravo Kelly
2 million
is
affordable
Trump
homes and
destroying
bring those rents
this
down.
aborted bill, man. And didn't even know what was with it. I bet you don't still know what was in it. Tell me two things with a bill that you didn't like.
To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I, like I suspect all of you, want to give a child, every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year, that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is. I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable.
Let's take it fast.
They were mad that they were angry. I said, well, they were discussing
alive on the rebuttal.
why I wanted to spend money on education.
I think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Pointed out to them as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them, and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade. I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to a good-paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable.
What up, Joe? I'm sorry, y'all.
Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions.
He's just about to.
When I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans, I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college. And folks, look, such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family.
Whoa, Joe, don't
While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise.
He's literally trying to expand his income.
And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. We've already cut the federal deficit over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and the very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
Yeah, so thank you guys for showing up in the chat, man. I appreciate the clarity.
I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make a million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes. A fair tax code is how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations, and exploded the federal deficit. They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers.
Check the numbers.
Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break? I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%. So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse. I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get what they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care, and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go.
In the 60s.
Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy.
I think corporate tax was like 20.
Oh, no.
20.
You guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut?
when we had that big.
I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share. Look.
Might be at the first president back then. Just lying, look at him. Look at him.
Too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to healthcare to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it. You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, I don't know, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more, a hell of a lot, like $8 and 30-some dollars. They don't like it. Credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit.
How much longer Joe Biden got?
I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front, so there are no surprises. It matters. It matters. And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now. What are you against? 100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives and bring order to the border. It would also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels a political win, he viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth it taking the chance of the $8,000. But if it's only 6 weeks, the idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way, knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
But if you're trying to do something about the border bill, like the government, they could do
and if my predecessors watch it,
or stop
instead of paying politics
because you can always
and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together.
Sometimes when y'all be on something,
but apparently here's what he will not do.
Love Trump.
I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country.
But I wanted them to do good because
I will not separate families.
I don't really care about the country, about Trump, and he's convinced you. I mean, I can't knock his hustle, but he's convinced you to only care about him and not the country.
I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, and so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of every place, from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere, but we're all Americans. Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now. A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him. Joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma, the daughter of gospel singers and preachers. She sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But 59 years later, their force has taken us back in time. voter suppression,
Appreciate the pull-up.
election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering.
I do not like.
John Lewis was a great friend to many of us here, but if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Right Act. And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back. Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it. I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis. At least I hope you don't. I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBEW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations. Conserving 30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And pattern after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade.
Now we put that.
To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust, as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record. Take on crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the federal enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America. There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, that the Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it. Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pass universal background checks. None of this. I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners. You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East.
All right, this is starting to get long.
I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people.
See how he said
since
men
the
and women,
Holocaust.
so he's
And 250
guys, right?
hostages
Said
taken.
men and women, two genders.
Here in this chamber tonight,
Said men and women.
are
Two.
families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home.
Don't look at him as the.
We also,
No, that's totally. I mean, I look at Trump like the president. I didn't agree with his policies for the president. Come on, you got to believe in America a little bit in order for this thing to work.
we will also work around the clock to bring home Evan and
Who is
Paul,
it, Kenny?
Americans being unjustly
Who's that?
detained by the Russians and others around the
Who did they
world.
kill? Was it Kyle?
Israel has the
kill
right
him?
to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has a added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards, under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin, families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day. And Israel must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to They're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. For the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
They've been strong out since 1948.
And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel. My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America is falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president. America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific. India, Australia, Japan, South Korea, Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills. But there's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why, with the strong support and help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act, one of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H, and remind us that we can do big things, like end cancer as we know it, and we will. Let me close with this.
Thank God.
Yay. I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while. When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation, between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service. I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29. Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president.
When you look at it on paper, it looks kind of Vice President.
In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserve to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy. My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are, it's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, we don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there's nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of State of the Union speech 2024 with President Joe Biden, the Deputy Climate Fund. We only have 4 more than that. technically, this is his final one in his term. Okay. Holy shit. I think it's gonna take everybody to come with their cities. So what did y'all think about the speech? Okay. Probably good review of the speech. Here we are all live. Right. So what did y'all think of the speech? And man, thank everybody. Let's see what else is on. I'm sure CNN. Oh, that's the backup channel. Look, ooh, nobody's watching. All right. No. Let's see anybody talk. Let's see. So I was talking about it. He's a Democrat though. Ohio. I be trying to catch them, but I don't know what they be talking about. Let's see what Right Side Real's talking about real quick before we get up out of here. They might have cut right then and there though. Why he looks so familiar?
540% last year.
How much? Man. Oh, by Maggie. Video. But okay, we're gonna mute it real quick. Man, I just want to thank everybody for coming up in the building real quick. Man, C-Mo, we got Danica Kelly, Homestead, Chef. Thank you for coming. I gotta look way back up there. John, appreciate it. Yes, as always. Alex, appreciate you too, bro. Even though I disagree with pretty much everything you say, but I still appreciate you coming up, man. Thank you so much for being that balance, that yin and that yang, because I can't, I need a barometer. I shouted out Kelly. Who else we got up in here? Low Battery. Appreciate you pulling up too, man. Who else? Am I missing anybody? I said, y'all. But yeah, because I got to get ready for work in the morning, guys. So let me get up on out here. I'm going to try and watch the Rumble response and see if I can find it. And then I'll see if I can do it. Ben Garcia, my fault. I know I was forgetting somebody. I knew I was forgetting somebody. But all right, man, I'm going to get up out of here. Wait, let's see what these last little comments saying real quick. Do y'all like the little logo, though, too, before I go? Come on. Oh, man, you know what? Funny story before I get out of here. My mother was a huge Democrat. You know, I don't say we would battle, but I was always one to kind of, I was one upper in a sense. So I would watch Fox and stuff. And at a certain point, I'm like, hold on, they doing the same thing that the Republicans do. You know what I'm saying? I think it was that transition from Clinton to Bush. And I'm like, hold on, this is they now they doing what Clinton, you know. So it was kind of that. So I always watched all sides. I mean, she watched Fox too, but she hated Fox. Like she was a stern Democrat. I will say, my mother made me vote for Bill Clinton, but not, you know what I'm saying. I trusted my mom at the time. Like I didn't think she, you know. But after Clinton, I started, you know, wanting to learn. So, you know what I'm saying? And we would even engage in political conversations. Like my mom was a huge Democrat. She loved the Democrats. And fortunately, she got to see Obama become president before she passed away. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of it too. Like I just wish my mother was still. I would make so much money off of YouTube, y'all. I mean, oh my god, it would be a murder show. But thanks everybody for coming up in here. Like, and we're gonna start doing more political shows because we have our nominees right now. Super Tuesday has already happened, so we got like 8 months of this. Do we got 8 months? What month? Third? It's about the third month. November is that? Yeah, about 8 months. About 8 months. Less than 8 months now because it's gonna be held on November the 4th. But I'm rambling. All right, let me get up out of here. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Appreciate you. And like I always say, without you, there is no moron. Y'all have a good night.